All right, so here within Unity, I have my scene, my room that you saw in the last series of videos, and all I have is the skeletal mesh of the vase sitting on, I dragged onto its placement node and has its animation playing. So some of you had asked also how to change animations, and that's when you go under animation here, and you see that there's this little circle. You click on that, and here are different animations, and you see sometimes they're hard to understand what they are, and that's why I do like the longer name, like you call it the vase loop animation or something. It's more understanding what's going on. So, if I went to the game in right now, then the vase is just sitting there animating. So let's bring in the robot. And I have his animation here, and I have the robot out here. So there's the SK robot. There's the SK robot cylinder head and sphere head that I made. But I'm just gonna load up the SK robot and play him. It's easier to connect up because the way I made my animation name SK robot, is for that file. If I wanted to SK robot cylinder, I should put here SK robot cylinder, or else I'm gonna have to manually connect it up. Maybe I'll just do that to show you what happens. So I'll take the SK robot cylinder head, and I'm going to take the SK robot vase loop animation. All right. So over here we have the SK robot cylinder head. Nothing really to change in his inspector, but remember this is the animation here. SK vase loop animation. There is some things to change here. The animation wrap mode, make this loop. You want to loop the animation and turn off the keyframe reduction, as it does mess up your animation, and click apply. Always click apply when you do changes. I know some of you, a few of you keep falling through your floors even though you click on generate colliders. It may be because you don't click on that apply afterwards. So even if you click on generate colliders, make sure to click that apply. So anyway, I got the SK robot cylinder head, and I'm going to drag him onto his placement bone for a robot. So he got placed exactly in the scene. That's the benefit of using that placement bone system. And you see he's placed correctly and he's angled right at the vase. That means his translation and his rotation came in correctly. But you see that his scaling is off. He's way too big. So we have to account for that. So because back in Maya, I only did the constrainment of translation rotation, but we didn't do scaling. So you can see that we're going to have to fix that. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is that with the SK robot, the cylinder head, the animation did not plug in automatically. Animation none, right? Because the SK is named a little differently as a cylinder head instead of just SK robot. So I'm going to have to manually add the animation. So for those of you where you have the wrong animations, or you want to switch animations, or just there's no animation playing, make sure animation here at this little circle here, you click on that, and you can select an animation. And if I look down the list here, I see, here we go, AC robot vase animation, character animation robot vase loop. All right, so if I go in the animation window and if I just play it, you see it's playing, which is great, but you see that he's too big, and he's like, his local space is too big. He's going through the vase into the wall, so we have to correct his scaling. So two ways to do that. Make sure you go back. So you see here in my placement node, I have translation rotation recorded, and he's rotated correctly, positioned correctly. He's just scaling never came into account. So two ways to do that. Either you can look at your master controller here, because that's what you originally scaled it at, and I can see what the scale is here. It's 0.611. You can do a scale constraint when you get in here, and then I don't know if it's going to work on the root. Let me try that first. Oh, it does scale 0.611. Okay, great. So if you grab the root and you grab that position, remember, do a point constraint to get the translation, the orient constraint to get the rotation, and now we're also doing the scaling constraint because that's really going to matter too. So you see I have translation, rotation, scaling. I inherited that information, so I can go back to my placement for the robot and delete those constraints because now I recorded all that information. So again, I would export out my room again because now I have new information on that robot placement, which is scaling. But I can also remember right here at scale 6.11 in just a quick method. I'm going to jump in on this SK here and put 0.611 in the 3 coordinates, and you see now he's back to being small. So great. If we play the animation window again, you see that he's right on line with the vase. So this looks great. He's the right size, he's the right position, right rotation. But the vase isn't animating. That's because this animation window only animates one thing at a time. So let's click play and jump in the game. And here he is, the robot animating with the vase. So it might be a little choppy, and even maybe the animations I was playing out of Maya might be choppy, but you know that's the screen capture recorder. But you know it's animating, it's playing well. I'll put all these files up for this week also. You can, if you want to piece them together and follow along, and rebuild these scenes too. So this concludes this series of lecture videos on this robot animation and how to create the animations in Maya, how to create all the files out of Maya to bring into Unity. And as you can see here in Unity, we're playing, the robot is fumbling around with this vase over and over again on a loop cycle. Also, real quick, when you zip up your Unity scene for submitting the final project, probably both the, I guess it's more for the group project, but my Unity project is here under Unity sample. And under here, you know, I have my assets, the FBX files, the room. And so here you could just zip up these folders into a zip and send that out.